There we go. Okay. Let me make some changes here very fast, everybody. Move some stuff around on my side. There we go. Okay. Now, this is not the time that I said I was going to be going live, so we might have to wait a few seconds for people to trickle in here. But we have some amazing news coming up, so that's fantastic about Sam Bankman-Fried. A lot of stuff going on right now, but the news is breaking as we're talking, so I'll be looking for more news about it actually as I'm live here. Let's see. Let's go to news. Nope, I still don't see anything here just yet. Let me go over here to past hour. There we go. There we go. Okay. Hey, Elmer. Good evening. Hey, Jonathan. Hey, J-Man. This is not the normal time I was going to be streaming, so I know people are going to be coming in here. But great freaking news. Sam got arrested. It's partially good news, partially bad news. We'll see how it plays out, of course. However, it is good news that Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested here, okay? I'm going to pull up some articles pretty soon. We got a lot of Twitter stuff. We got market stuff. Market stuff's going to come at the end of this, guys, because the big news here is FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested in the Bahamas after U.S. files criminal charges, okay? So, it looks like the Bahamian authorities have arrested him for the United States. That's what I want to say here, but I need to have more information about it, and it just broke like 15 minutes ago. So I'm like, okay, here we go. Time to get on board on this type of train. And there we go as well. You know, U.S. files criminal charges against FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried. Damn, guys, this is some good news. So let's just kind of hop right into it very fast. Let's go to this one. There we go. So you can see part of it. We'll be going through a bunch of stuff here, guys, because we're going to try to get as much information as possible out to you guys. And then towards the end of the stream, we'll go to technical analysis. But you guys can see Bitcoin did that little sideways action thing we were talking about before, although not as deep as I wanted it to go. But let's start off here with CNBC. This is more of a legacy media website. You guys know what it is, but they usually have good news when it comes to breaking stuff. Now, FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried arrested in the Bahamas after U.S. files criminal charges here. This is going to be important. And you know, sorry guys, I'm just had a lot of coffee. I'm going to be stuttering a lot. The big point here is after the United States files criminal charges, they're moving against him. That's good. Remember also that his family just joined him down in the Bahamas as well. They left the country just a few days ago. So now they're all down there, or maybe a week ago or so. But what do you call? So let's just kind of go through the story, kind of read it out a little bit here. I'll move my head onto the right-hand side so you guys can read along with me if you guys want to. You guys are probably even reading as I'm talking, okay? So, Bahamian authorities have arrested Sam Bankman-Fried after the U.S. law enforcement filed charges against the former crypto billionaire. Bahamas Attorney General Ryan Pender said that the United States had filed unspecified criminal charges against Bankman-Fried and was likely to request his extradition. There we go. In a statement, Bahamian Prime Minister Philip Davis said, "The Bahamas and the United States have a shared interest in holding accountable all individuals associated with FTX who may have betrayed the public trust and broken the law. While the United States is pursuing criminal charges against SBF individually, the Bahamas will continue its own regulatory and criminal investigations into the collapse of FTX with the continued cooperation of its law enforcement and regulatory partners in the United States and elsewhere." All right. Bankman-Fried was expected to testify before the House Financial Services Committee tomorrow. His arrest is the first concrete move by regulators to hold individuals accountable for the multi-billion-dollar implosion of FTX last month. That's the big caveat to all this. I don't know. I don't think he's actually going to be able to testify tomorrow. So we're going to hear from the current CEO of FTX tomorrow morning. We're going to be looking at CPI data as well. So CPI data actually first, and then we start going over to the hearing, I believe. And then Wednesday we have interest rate hikes with Jerome Powell. But all the news that we're going to be talking about today, and we'll talk about some of the other stuff a little bit, is Sam. We're going to try to find out as much news as possible. You can even see right here, this is breaking news. Please check back for updates, okay? We're going to learn more. Twitter is gone crazy. Maxine Waters, the head of this committee that he's supposed to be talking with, She hasn't said anything about this yet. Okay, she's probably just learning about it too. We had some other bombshell news today. I'm pretty sure the majority of people in the crypto realm, or even in the asset realm, like stocks, right? We don't really like Gary Gensler. We just don't, because he's kind of two-faced. He's not very he's not a just man. He's very arbitrary about how he handles things in this space. But bombshell exclusive from Thomas Catanzia. I can't pronounce Italian names. I'm sorry. Biden's SEC chairman Gary Gensler deleted key details of meetings with George Soros, Hillary Clinton, and Nancy Pelosi from the public version of his calendar. Now, politics aside, you guys saw my video this morning. Politics aside, I don't care about that. You guys will care much more than I do. The question is, did they discuss FTX and SBF? I want to know if they had those type of conversations, because remember how I told you guys America is just, to me, it's just kind of a corrupt place. The institutions are corrupt. They're not very good institutions. However, instead of trying to fight those institutions, I just encourage people to live their best life under the watchful eye of those institutions. Make as much money as you can, move out of the country if you want to, or just be happy in America while you're rich. But it's going to be very hard to be poor with this type of corruption for much, much longer, right? This is just one of those stories that kind of feeds into that narrative. It sucks, but are we really surprised? I mean, I would say probably not, but this is just a minor story here you guys might like during a pastime or something, maybe while you're on the toilet and you're like, I've had enough TikTok for the day, right? And then here's some other news that broke today. This is probably what sped up everything. FTX founders Sam Bankman-Fried and I can't pronounce that, Ji Shao, Gary Wang, along with FTX engineer Nishad, I can't pronounce that, also, and former Alameda Research Chief Executive Caroline Ellison, used a chat on a signal called wire fraud. How stupid do you have to be to do this stuff? I'm like, for real, how stupid do you have to be? I'm always surprised about the ineptitude, just the sheer idiocy of these people, and how they were able to build a company. They were all so fake, but if you kind of go over some of the calls that Sam's been talking about, he said that a lot of it was an act to get help with regulations and stuff like that. He chose to align himself with the Democratic Party because he felt like the media was going to support him if he did that. He was right. But I know he was paying both sides at this point. He was paying Republicans and Democrats, although I believe he was paying much more to Democrats, and he was very open about the Democratic donations, right? To save the world, climate change, yada, yada, yada. I think he even said something about COVID as well. So, just worse stuff here. Now, this is just a reiteration of that. This is a little bit just more detailed. And here we go. Now, there's just tons of memes right now getting posted about it. Sam Bankman-Fried getting arrested. It's bad. Crypto Wendy was just asking if it's really true. I said yes. But I'm sure there's going to be some meetings coming up pretty soon. Don't know what that is. But, here's Benjamin. Sam Bankman-Fried's arrested. And there you go, 20 minutes ago now. Sam Bankman-Fried arrested by the Bahamian authorities. I want to see if there's any more news, but usually you just kind of have to refresh this page every now and again. But I do want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. Are you happy that he was arrested by the Bahamians? Are you? Do you want him arrested by America? I think they said that they're going to extradite him, or because they're thinking of extraditing him. So wait, they added more. Yeah, so they added more. Okay, but it's more filler. It's not really substance here. And so it kind of goes with last month, FTX and its affiliates filed for bankruptcy. I guarantee this is just taken from an article they wrote a few weeks ago, and it's plastered in here. And Bankman-Fried was replaced by John J. Ray III, who had overseen Enron's bankruptcy. Ray is also scheduled to testify before Congress this week. In prepared remarks released Monday, Ray said that FTX went on a spending binge from late 2021 to 2022, when approximately $5 billion was spent on a myriad of businesses and investments. I made a video about this earlier. You can feel free to watch that. But I think, actually, I still have it up. Look at this, because I'm smart, and I wanted to give you guys all the information, but at the normal 4:30 time. Let's just kind of go through the beginning, because I kind of separated out two parts here. It's fine. Let me get my speed test out of here. I'm running tests all the time to make sure I can have enough Wi-Fi to go live. Now, there's a few things here, guys. This is his testimony. So when he first gets up in the morning tomorrow, he's just going to read all of this out, okay? You guys are going to know what he says ahead of time, because you guys are going to listen to this a little bit with me. Loki says hello. As he jumps on my shoulder, I will give him a treat very fast. He got these nice little doggy bones. Look, he's very gentle when he really wants something. All right, and now he runs off to my room to go eat and snack. Now, there's a few things I want you guys to understand. Most of this is just kind of an intro to who he is and some of the stuff he's been noticing. And then, of course, after he reads this, all of the House members on the committee will have their 5 to 10 minutes to ask him questions, and we're going to learn a lot more information tomorrow. However, he does drop some bombshells here, and the stuff he says in this opening statement, illegal. A lot of what Sam was doing and his partners, illegal. That's literally why I called it like smoking gun when it comes to Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, did I know he's going to be arrested today? No. I was kind of in that pessimistic category. Oh, they're going to take a lot of time to get him. No, they're moving fast, and it looks like they're going to try to use him as an example. And he has admitted to fraud on like 5 different Twitter spaces, on YouTube channels. Coffeezilla caught him in like 1,000 lies. It's been just a crazy time out there, okay? Now, a few things we should talk about now, I guess. Some of the unacceptable management practices at FTX Group identified so far were the use of computer infrastructure that gave individuals and senior management access to systems that stored customer assets without security controls to prevent them from redirecting those assets. So if there was a rogue FTX employee, they could have just stolen a whole bunch of money and nobody would have known. Well, they might have known, but it would have been too late, right? The storing of certain private keys to access hundreds of millions of dollars in crypto assets without effective security controls or encryption. You have to meet a bare minimum, and that is legally required, okay? The ability of Alameda, the crypto hedge fund within the FTX group, to borrow funds held at FTX.com to be utilized for its own trading or investments without any effective limits. Without any effective limits. Do you understand how wild that is, everybody? It's just not what we want to see here. Not what we want to see at all. I'll move my head back over here very fast. See if there's any more news on Twitter, because I want to learn more about this, but I normally kind of waited like an hour until I stream, but this was like such big news. I was like, let's hop on. Let's see. Oh, and Wendy says, I hate to be a negative Nancy, but protective custody is a real thing, right? And certain people can get special treatment, and some things are for show. She is true. However, because America is leading this one, I think he should be a little bit... I think it's going to be hard for him to just hop on a plane and leave to another country. We know he tried to go over to Saudi Arabia, but Saudi Arabia just gave him the middle finger and said, no, dude, you messed with our customers too. I'd rather go to prison in America than prison in Dubai. Dubai, there's punishment. That's why they don't have as much crime as we have out here. There's a difference in how criminals are, treated. But man, and then, Cryptodamus right here. Most of you guys don't know this guy. This guy does like crypto technical analysis with the way the moon and the stars are aligning. Now, to me, I don't really understand it, but it's his thing. But yeah, FTX founder, still arrested there. Imagine if SBF tweeted right now. I mean, we could check his Twitter, everybody, but I doubt he's, he hasn't tweeted since the 9th, and that was like a few days ago now. Still some crazy news out there. Excuse me. And hey, J-Man, the feds will get him. I hope so. I mean, if you go right back and read this statement here, forget about Jim Cramer. We know he sucks as an investor. Let's see. Yeah, we can just go over this again. Let me see. Yeah. Bahamas Attorney General Ryan Pender said that the United States had filed unspecified criminal charges against Bankman-Fried and was likely to request his extradition. This is, it's kind of seismic here. Now, if we take a look at Bitcoin and stuff like that, it already had a move earlier. We were talking about this over the last few days, and especially I think after the stream yesterday for members, we saw the breakdown occur, and it kind of just bounced right back off here, I assume because of CPI data, right? Everybody's waiting to see if CPI data is going to be positive, and if it is, we'll pop up and we'll try to test out that $222 range, right? Or $622 range, excuse me. But the big news of the hour really is just how, he's in custody. I kind of want to see pictures here, but I just haven't been able to find any yet. That's what I'm hoping for here. I just want to see some pictures of like, hey, or maybe he just drove himself and surrendered. I don't know, because they might have just given him a call. You know how they can do it for white collar crimes. Photos. Sam Bankman-Fried's parents staying in the Bahamas fear his legal fees will wipe them out. I mean, it should wipe them out. I would not feel sad at all. The whole family deserves to go down. Um, Miami is leaving Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX saga behind them and tossing any leftover remnants into trash bags. Oh my gosh. Um, oh my god. I kind of want one of those hats just as a keepsake. If those, no, those are t-shirts. Never mind. Um, but I haven't seen any news here. So will the MLB Empire still have FTX patches on the uniforms next season, or will those just be exhibits in the Sam Bankman-Fried's trial? Oh gosh. This is from the 9th. Okay. Anything else here? No. I want to see a picture of him in cuffs if possible, but I know that's going to be something hard to do here. And hey, Joseph, Sam Bankman-Fried made a lot of important people look stupid. Probably going to make an example of him, I hope. He really did make a lot of people look stupid. I just don't think the Democrats were ready for the exposure that was going to be coming from them, because everybody's seen that chart by now by how much money he donated to the Democratic Party. The only person that donated more was George Soros. And, people that spend that much money donating to campaigns, it's obviously to buy influence. I don't think anybody's really going to dispute that. And so I think as time goes on, there'll be more and more investigations. There'll be, going over lots of old records, seeing what was said, old transcripts. And then you're going to have Nancy Pelosi met with Sam Bankman-Fried 10 times. He met with Mitch McConnell 4 times. He met with Kevin McCarthy, 7 times. I'm making up numbers here, of course. But I think this thing will, this investigation from the House side, from Congress, it'll speed up once Republicans take control. We know Democrats would be, they're wise to be fearful of what going down this trail will take them. It's going to probably be a lot more negative stuff about Democrats than Republicans, just based off of what we've learned so far. It could totally do a switcheroo and go more after Republicans. I just doubt it because of how pro-Democratic Democrat he was over the last election cycle and all the meetings he's been having publicly with Democratic leaders and Maxine Water giving him, a little kiss there, right? Let's see. And hey, Crypto Yellow Vest, the market is not bad before CPI news and FOMC. I opened some other longs until the next few days. Yeah, good luck with it, man. It's going to be a fun day trading day tomorrow, especially because we have CPI data. We have the FTX hearing Wednesday. We got Jerome Powell coming out. It's going to be a blockbuster week. And, now I don't know. Now I don't know what's happening with Sam Bankman-Fried going to I guess doing like an online Zoom call with Congress. I don't know if that's still going to happen. I hope it does. I hope he just does it from a jail cell, so he just in jumpsuit orange talking to Congress. I would love to see that. But, the system doesn't work like that. So, we'll have to keep a close eye. But guys, I'm pretty shocked. I really thought this was going to take a longer period of time. And hey, Crypto Universe, have you checked where the bank from USDT is? I forget the name. No, I haven't checked that at all. And hey, Ken, happy to see you back. By corruption all the way. Oh yeah, plenty of corruption. I just don't like talking about corruption because it makes me feel sad. And it makes me feel sad in a way where geez, it kind of sucks. It really does just suck the level of corruption in America. I always liken it to the end of the Roman Empire where, you know, things were just looking pretty bad, basically. We weren't able to kind of fix immigration. German tribes coming from the north. The Senate was in disarray. Our Congress really isn't doing much. We're spending so much more money than we're making because whatever system got us to this point as America, it's not working anymore, and we've been unable to adapt. Hence, debt and debt and debt and debt. If we didn't develop the debt system, I'm sure America would have just gone to civil war with itself a long time ago, with different states trying to just break away again. But the best thing I think about this, even though we live in a corrupt system, in my opinion, if you make money, you can do well on it. And that's why I'm trying to make as much money as possible. Go chill down in Nicaragua if I can just find a way to get Loki down there, which I think I can find eventually. And just live peacefully, still make YouTube videos, still trade on TD Ameritrade, and still trade on Binance, KuCoin, BingX, you name it, and make some money with crypto trading. That's all I really want to do, and I'll fly back to America all the time. It's not like America is a bad place to live necessarily if you have, a decent income. So it's more of just like understanding there's problems that just can't be addressed by the current system that we have, and that America's in this weird decline motion right now, and we're just not sure how that's going to work itself out or what happens if we keep on going through this decline. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to watch from Nicaragua, I'll tell you that. Or from a farm out in Washington State if I stay here and get a farmland, like 10 acres or something like that. Hopefully I can get to Nicaragua, though. And hey, Brian, I thought Sam Bankman-Fried said he donated to both parties equally. He hid his donations to the Republicans because of the media scrutiny. He hasn't shown any proof of that yet. But yes, I do believe part of that is true, where he did donate a lot to Republicans, but I think he donated a lot more to Democrats as far as what we know factually now. It's hard for me to take his word on a lot of stuff. You get it? He's kind of been playing an act here. So that's what's... I'm trying to disseminate the truth from like his lies and stuff. We know from public records he's donated a lot to Democrats. I'm taking a little bit of what he said about donating the same amount to Republicans. I'm like, I don't know if he really did that. I'd be doing more, more of like he probably did like 80-20 split type of thing, right? And then of course, if you guys remember, he said this a while ago. He said that FTX actually has enough money. He said that FTX has enough money for all the funds to be withdrawn by customers. And the new CEO, John Ray, has denied Sam Bankman-Fried's claim that FTX US has sufficient funds to restart withdrawals. So he probably just made all that shit up, and he's probably just been making a lot of shit up as he goes. And we've all heard the different things going on with Coffeezilla and all these other things. Like here, here's Coffeezilla. Oh, I don't know. Okay, I forgot. Thought I was searching for it on YouTube. Video. I accidentally got Sam Bankman-Fried to admit to fraud. Okay? I accidentally admitted, like he's been doing a lot of work here. Like he's like the top guy on this. Oh, can you guys hear that? I don't think you guys can.
Bankman-Fried.
Now you guys can. All right. So I want to go to the part where he was actually talking with him. Okay, let's go here. I'm going to turn down the volume just a little bit so it's not screaming loud in you guys' ears. But just listen to this a little bit. This is coming from Coffeezilla. If you guys don't follow him, definitely give it a shot. I don't even follow him. There you go. I used to follow him, but then I got too many lists. But I just followed him again. So give him a subscribe if you want to. If you want to learn more about the FTX saga, I would say. But let's just listen to this for a few seconds here because it is quite important, okay? So he's talking with Sam and he's getting him to admit fraud. And I think most of you guys that have maybe been in the space for at least a year or maybe just a few months, you guys may understand some of what he's talking about, okay? And if you don't, he kind of explains it as well.
And if I was going to succeed, I'd have to beat that explanation. And in the first couple interviews I did with Sam, I tried to go with like this insider angle where insiders I had talked to had told me something very different, but it didn't work. Go ahead and previous interviews.
We'll
so without further ado, here's my third and probably final call with Sam Bankman-Fried.
If you're trying to do things with good intentions,
I'm about to go up.
Okay, Coffee, you're up.
Hey, Sam, it's me again. I just wanted to ask real quick about the terms of service question, which Rex brought up a little bit. I want to expound on it. Can you just tell us, yes or no, were you treating client assets just on the regular digital asset side different from the margin trading side?
I do think we're treating them differently. There were a bunch of different sides. There were more than two sides there. But I do think that we were cognizant of the fact that like there were differences between uses for like margin versus staking versus spot versus futures collateral versus other things.
Yeah, just people. I'm just talking about people just putting Bitcoin on the exchange.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was really clear terms of service around that.
Okay, so he's basically asking him, hey, we'll go through it in a couple seconds, but basically he's about to ask him a question that's going to contradict, or where Sam's answer is going to contradict the terms and services. So when you sign up for FTX, it gives you a little terms and services, and you scroll past it very fast, and you just hit agree because nobody ever reads those. That still is legally binding, right? And if he doesn't do that, and it's his company giving you the terms and services, that's illegal. So let's go back and listen to this.
It's true that you didn't invest client assets, not even in treasuries, as you said via a now deleted tweet. Why do those client assets no longer exist?
So I'm trying to trace through some of this. Here's my best guess, and I wish I could give you a more confident answer, but I don't have the data.
I don't have the data. He's the CEO. He should know this off the top of his head.
But my best guess is basically it's a combination of the following. One piece is the transfer sent directly to Alameda Research from customers. One piece, and that I think is a fairly substantial piece. One piece is
Wait, can you explain what that piece means? So people were sending money to Alameda instead of, they were getting credited on FTX, and Alameda just ended up using those funds, and they were never held separately per the terms of service.
Well, there was a separate legal agreement with that. I don't know the details of it. I don't have it in front of me, but
Sure, he doesn't know the details. This is the type of stuff that will be used against him in court.
there's a separate legal agreement with respect to transfers that were sent directly to Alameda Research by users, especially before FTX had its own bank accounts. And so I do think that is part of what happened there, likely.
Let's focus on only client assets that happened after FTX got a bank. Y'all said digital assets are treated a very specific way. Why were those digital assets not treated that way?
So of the remaining piece, and there's a few other pieces as well around futures and other things. I understand that's not what you're talking about. For the ones that you are talking about, right? For the ones that were left, and I'm just taking a stab at this because I don't have the data, but my best guess is the following: is that there were a lot of those assets remaining. We processed something like $5 or $6 billion, I think, of withdrawals over the few days prior to, or I guess the few days during the crash, and there are still a few $1 billion of those remaining, I think, in the estate. And so you put those together, you have many billions of dollars of those assets. But I think, and so that's part of the answer, is that there were a large number of actual assets there. I think there's one follow-up question you probably still have there, which is, well, how about people who didn't withdraw and were also in that bucket? And part of the answer is, well, there still do exist some number of billions of dollars of assets, of hard assets in the estate.
No, is there one-to-one assets? Because that's the whole thing. We're talking about a separation of funds. So those funds should be in a different place, in a different wallet than everybody else. What you talked about, servicing billions of dollars of withdrawals, has nothing to do with those specific digital assets, because that's just first come, first serve, whoever pulled out first. We're talking about people who never agreed to have their funds loaned out, who never agreed to have their funds put on margin. They should have, according to your terms of service, one-to-one backing. It should all still be in some bucket somewhere. And are you confident today, as the CEO of FTX, this has nothing to do with Alameda?
So before I answer that question, basically you guys can think of FTX. Let me go over here and make my head a little bit bigger. FTX, and you got Alameda. Most of you guys would put your money into FTX, right? Some of you guys were putting your money into FTX knowing it was going to Alameda. Most, like 99.9% of you guys didn't do this ladder of sending it to Alameda. Basically, if your money is in FTX, the terms and services said, we have it backed, which means all the money you have in here, it's in a separate wallet and it can only be withdrawn from you. That technically means that no matter what happens, that your little investment that you put in FTX, it's safe and it's just in that little ball, okay? Little ball, your wallet, whatever you want to call it, okay? Now, what was happening was it doesn't look like that ball even existed. it looks like the money was just kind of free flowing into everybody's different accounts. And on the app, you just saw how much money you invested and what was going up or down according to the markets. But it's like you having a bank account, but the money in your account really isn't there. It's just sloshing around with a bunch of other person's accounts. The banks don't do that unless you give them special permission. Some banks do it, but you got to give them the permission to do something like that. And it's usually you get paid for that as well. Different type of things here, okay? But let's go back in here and listen to it one more time, or listen to the answer, okay?
Are you confident today to say that those are absolutely real and they exist and they're present? People are backed one-to-one on client digital assets.
So I think, and again, I'm just taking a stab here, but I think what happened is that if you look at especially a lot of the withdrawals that happened, those withdrawals were not necessarily only coming from people who never used margin trading or futures or staking or anything else. Those weren't just withdrawals from people who were keeping one-to-one backed, or were sort of just keeping them as pure spot balances. And it was omnibus wallets, between the various categories. And so I think that the answer to your question is that a number of those assets were withdrawn by people who had balances on the exchange, potentially in the few days prior to the collapse. And if you wanted to think about it this way, it could be that that happened, and then when the collapse sort of completed,
He's just making shit up right now.
That effectively meant that there was, if you wanted to put it this way, like fungibility created during those withdrawals between assets for people who had and had not been using.
But that means that there is no separation of funds. If there's fungibility between two different buckets of there are no buckets. It's just one bucket. Everyone's taking out of the bucket, which means substantially anyone who had your terms of service with digital assets wasn't actually subject to that terms of service. They were subject to the same terms of service of your margin trading, right? Which is your more risky product. So you subjected everyone to the higher risk product because fundamentally, when it came down to it, you're saying there's fungibility. It's $1 here, $1 there. Everyone can take out $1 as fast as they want. Don't you see that as like defrauding your customers, the people who trusted you to just say, hey, this is not going to go anywhere except for we're not investing your assets? If I can exchange one-to-one, and I'm the one who put risky stuff on with risky assets with risky terms of service, I can take the money that someone who didn't sign up to those same risky terms didn't agree to. Isn't that fraud?
So
yes, it is.
I'm specifically talking about what happened in the days immediately during and following the crash, in that 3 or so day period. And during that period...
Hey, Patrick, Michael, I believe the technical term is talking out of his butt. I mean, yeah, this is bad.
I think we may have allowed, just generalized withdrawals. I think that was, if you're saying that we should have held up withdrawals for everyone who had an open futures position, for clawback potential or something like that, I don't know, maybe that would have been the right thing to do. I hear where you're coming from on that. I felt, at the time.
All right, let's move on a little bit further.
I just want to respond to that, and please, I completely respect your question, but you have monopolized all of these discussions, Coffeezilla. You need to let others speak, and you need to respond to what I'm saying and not grandstand as much here. I completely understand where you're coming from, but to answer your question, I didn't make a decision there. We processed withdrawals as we normally do, until it became clear we couldn't anymore, at which point we shut them off. And it was the case that, at that point, there was a big liquidity hole. That's what happened. If you want to judge that process and think that, we should have been spending those days frantically trying to code up a new withdrawal process, I disagree with you, but I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, sure. I think that's fine. I mean, it's not about coding up a new withdrawal process. It's about treating your client assets the way you told them they'd be treated, right? It's a very different thing completely. But anyways, I'll stop grandstanding for Sam. Thanks, guys.
Oh boy, guys. I mean, it's just such a nightmare for Sam right now. And now that they're starting to crack down, this means that he may be used as an example, and he just may be sacrificed by Democrats who feel no. I mean, like, why would you back him, right? Why would you back him at that point? It just doesn't make any sense. Uh, Now we have a video on top of this, and we got some more information. So they're adding to this right now. So let's start off with what CNBC is talking about. Hopefully they don't get too mad at me about playing this video. I might just have to wait for an ad to play. That's the nasty thing here. CNBC has ads. Oh no, they don't.
CEO of Bitfury Group. Previously, Brian served as the CEO of Binance US, was the acting comptroller of the current.
Oh, never mind. This isn't it. This is what do you call? This is from earlier today. I watched this. This is not from just a few minutes ago. They're trying. See, I told you they're going to add fluff to it. This is that fluff they're adding over here. But basically, there was one thing that struck my mind as I was reading this at the bottom. Legal experts told CNBC that if the federal government pursues wire or bank fraud charges that Bankman-Fried could face life in prison without the possibility of a supervised release. That's what I want to see. I think that's what you guys want to see too. Such a severe punishment would be unusual but not extraordinary. Ponzi scheme mastermind Bernie Madoff was sentenced to 150 years in prison, an effective life sentence for his massive Ponzi scheme. FTX's collapse has already triggered the demise of BlockFi lending and has thrown the entire space into disarray. Crypto has been in disarray for like the last few months now. I think it started really with Celsius, and it's just going to be worse and worse and worse. But FTX was a much bigger player than Celsius, and FTX was Sam Bankman-Fried was very close with the politicians of this country, right? So we've seen a lot of drama go on there. Let me see if I can go over here very fast and refresh. Any pictures of him in jail yet? I would like to see it. Nope. Let's go to top. I would like to see what happens with her. We had talked a few weeks ago, or about a week ago, about her being in the United States and possibly how she was giving information and selling him out for a plea deal of some sorts. So maybe she goes away for 5 to 20 years and Sam gets like 250 years or something like that. Because there's a myriad of problems here. And you guys know Sam Bankman-Fried is locked out of everything FTX. He's locked out of it. So he can't see any data. He can't see anything of what happened. He can't build a legal case to defend himself at all right now. All of the information is being given to the FBI, to the Department of Justice through the new head of FTX, which is the John Ray guy, who's going to be speaking tomorrow at the hearing, okay? So House hearings, FTX. There we go. Financial Services Committee here. And you can see they still have his name up here, but I don't know if he's going to be talking tomorrow, everybody. It could be he could just show up on Zoom in a jumpsuit in jail, or he could get bail, go back to his Bahamas house, and maybe he has like supervised watch or something like that. And then, I mean, just before we go into this a little bit more, we learn more about John Ray, which would be very, very small thing here. Let me just go right here. John Ray, there we go. And let's just go to maps. Bahamas. I think you guys know where the Bahamas are, but maybe some of you guys don't. Bahamas is right here. It's pretty darn close to Florida. It's like right by, between Cuba, whatever. Nassau, if you guys have ever gone on a cruise in Florida, you guys have probably passed by it a couple times, right? It's not going to be hard to get him from here onto Florida. Or heck, any of our little territories over here as well. Whether you're talking about the islands, whatever, it's like a 30-minute flight or something like that. So if they want to, they can get him. Now, I don't know where FTX is in the Bahamas. FTX. It's over here in Nassau. No, that's not it. I want to find out where we can go to the FTX side. Wherever BitBoy was like stalking Sam Bankman-Fried at. Looks like BitBoy is never going to get that one-to-one convo he was trying to hype everybody about. But yeah, so, it's not too far. It's not going to be hard to get him from here over to here. It's just not. They could even just they'd probably just take a small plane or something like that. But, it's not going to be hard. But yeah, it's just, I'm happy, but I'm like, please make sure that this doesn't get screwed over, because I would like to see him go to jail for life And I would like to see that happen like after maybe a year and a half trial, like what is normal here. Remember the Theranos woman, Elizabeth, I think her name was. He could be going to jail during the next bull market. So when Bitcoin's reaching $100,000 or some crazy level, who knows, right? He could be sentenced in jail, and maybe that'll give a good boost to the market so we can remember those bad times in 2022 when the world was falling apart for crypto, and only the weak, only the strong were able to survive that madness. And hey, Josh, I listened to the Michael Saylor interview with PBD the other day. Man, oh man, does he hate crypto and Sam Bankman-Fried? I can understand why a lot of people hate Sam Bankman-Fried. He's a crook. And, he lies a lot. Like, you guys have seen all the Twitter spaces. He's been given a platform to lie. I take the majority of stuff he says with a grain of salt. And a lot of what I've been going off of is that what like people like Coffeezilla have been going off of. And that's more of following the data that's been given by people that currently work at FTX that are helping the Justice Department here. This is John. FTX is up here. There you go. John J. Ray the third right here. He's the guy that's going to navigate FTX through this whole crisis, and he's going to get paid a buttload of money to do so. But he's going to give the government everything they want, and he has a lot to give. The only problem that I think he's going to face during all this right now is he's going to. Well, let me just go back. Yeah. He's going to have to go through all that data because, as you guys can already understand, it's not organized. There's no there was a very lax structure there, so nobody really knew. It's like, have you guys ever looked in your mom's purse? And sometimes your mom's purse is very nice and clean and everything's organized, but other times it's just like 1,000 bombs and shit and makeup things were just tossed in there. It's like that. That's what it looks like FTX is right now. And he's having to sift through all this stuff and try to figure it out. Meanwhile, your mom had a few pieces of chocolate and they melted in there as well. And, it's just so much stuff for him to have to work himself through. And, let's see. This is something I wanted you guys to see as well. This is Sam Bankman. This is his analogy to kind of what's going on here, just so you guys have a clear understanding and why this is so illegal and why I believe, I'm not a lawyer, why I believe he's going to be going to jail for at least 50 years, hopefully 100, 150. It really depends on what they can pin on him versus what they can pin on other members at Alameda and FTX
and you bank at
International.
JP Morgan Chase, right? And you have your money in the savings account part. Well, then you find out that they actually had this risky hedge fund. And you know what? They actually kind of blew up. In fact, they blew up so badly that JP Morgan Chase, it's all shutting down. But when you go to the bank to withdraw your money, you find out that instead of keeping your money safely in your savings account, they had allowed the people in the hedge fund business to just withdraw it, first come, first serve, right? They treated all clients the same, according to them. Well, you say, well, no, that's fraud because you signed up to very different terms of service than the guy who knew he was going to be like, in this hedge fund, right? He had a different level of risk. He acknowledged that level of risk. And if you just throw all the money in one pot, the terms of service are meaningless, right? You're exposed to the same level of risk as the guy who took on huge risk. And that's fundamentally what happened at FTX. That's fraud.
That's fraud. Exactly. So guys, that's the big news coming out of today. It's just going to be wild for the next few hours. I want to be learning more and more. I'm looking for Maxine Waters to give an update to what's going on here, but we haven't heard from her since the 9th. Let me go through my timeline here. Now send everything to all-time highs. And there you go, Crypto Jack over there. Let's see. All right, guys. Sam Bankman-Fried has officially been arrested and will get extradited. I personally will be putting up bail money when he gets back into the States. Sam can come stay with me. I promise a couple vegetables a day and a hair trim every week. What do you call it? I don't think Ben kind of went wild in this whole debacle, right? He was flying down to the Bahamas, trying to track him down, trying to make I don't know what you want to call it, like a TLC show or like a drama show out of it. I don't think it made him look particularly good in this example because he was wild at certain points of it. But yeah, it's going to be pretty bad for Sam. Ben is going to spin this to like he was the guy all along. But I really think the majority of the credit here goes to people like Coffeezilla, who were able to ask questions in a very practical way, in a very intelligent way, to get Sam to admit what he was doing without even understanding it. I don't even think in Sam's mind, when he was answering the questions from Coffeezilla, I don't even think he understood that he was telling the truth about fraud. I just don't think he knew what that was fraud. I think he was like, no, it's just normal, I'm just spitballing here, but that's what we were doing. And, I don't think he actually understood it was illegal. I really don't think he actually understood that. Now, when it comes to breaking laws like this, it doesn't matter. Because I'm pretty sure they're going to have emails and records and Slack channels and everything like that. That kind of shows that he knew what was going on. And he'll get put away. It's great news, everybody. It's really great news. And you can even see the memes right now. Ministers of NFTs right now. The Simpsons predicted the Sam Bankman-Fried arrest, and it's just it's just the police or the SWAT teams taking away Krusty the Krab here. Excuse me. And Wall Street Silver now is the formal statement. We already read this a little bit here, but I'll read it one more time. On the 12th of December, 2022, the Office of Attorney General of the Bahamas is announcing the arrest by the Royal Bahamas Police Force of Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF. I like how they actually call him SBF here. Former CEO of FTX. Sam Bankman-Fried's arrest followed receipt of formal notification from the United States that it has filed criminal charges against SBF and is likely to request his extradition. I bet they actually sped this up a little bit because maybe they heard he was getting ready to fly out of the country, especially because his family just joined him. They could have been trying to sit at the penthouse for a little bit or just fly out and go to somewhere where there's no extradition treaty. And once he was out of the zone, it would have been very hard to get him back into that zone of extradition, right? Think of Do Kwon, so to speak, right? Do Kwon is just like floating around in some of the shittiest countries. But yeah, so as a result of the notification received and the material provided therewith, so they gave the material enough to say, hey, this guy did some bad shit, probably broke some of your laws too, take him in. It was deemed appropriate for the Attorney General to seek SBF's arrest and hold him in custody pursuant to our nation's Extradition Act. Extradition Act. So we'll have to figure out how soon he's going to be taken over to America, but it looks like he's in a world of hurt now, and it's going to get pretty messy here. The thing about all of this right now is if he's going through all these hearings or these proceedings and criminal court stuff, is he going to have to come before Congress even as he's subpoenaed, or will try to protect him from talking too publicly until he actually has a court date? I'm hoping that hopefully Maxine Waters, if not the Democrats, Republicans, when they take back the House in January, they have enough influence to say, hey, Justice Department, we know you're doing your stuff. We're going to require Sam Bankman-Fried to come in. And if he wants to plead the fifth in front of Congress, he can. And they'll give him that opportunity against self-incrimination, which is a constitutional right that we all have. And we'll see how all of that looks, okay, in the next few months. But I think that's probably what's going to happen. They're going to get him to come up, but he's going to be saying, I plead the fifth, Dave Chappelle a while ago. That's what he's going to be doing quite a bit, but he'll answer some questions. And we've already seen this before, unless he has a lawyer really right next to him. He just admitted to fraud into Coffeezilla, and Coffeezilla's videos over the past few weeks have gone at like 5-6 million views. So there's a lot of people that understand what's going on. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the FBI or the Justice Department had watched some of those videos just to get to comprehend exactly what happened as a macro level view, and then they go and look at the data to kind of see if that's justified. Honestly, that's how good of reporting Sam Bankman Coffeezilla has been. Responding to FBF's arrest, Prime Minister Davis said the Bahamas and the United States have a shared interest in holding accountable all individuals associated with the FTX who may have betrayed the public trust and broken the law. They say may because he hasn't been convicted yet. It's just you gotta go to trial, right? While the United States is pursuing criminal charges against FBS individually, the Bahamas will continue its own regulatory and criminal investigations into the collapse of FTX with the continued cooperation of its law enforcement and regulatory partners in the United States and elsewhere. All right, so pretty vanilla, bland response there, but it does give you some nice little tidbits of what's going on, and really it talks about the extradition. He's going to be sent over to D.C. or somewhere around Congress, I would believe, to be put in jail and just in holding, or holding until he gets a bail hearing. And I think the government or the Justice Department will say that he is a flight risk because they don't know how much money he has. They really don't. He says he has $100,000. I believe he's lying about that, honestly. And I believe that he would try to flee. That's what they're going to say. And the judge will make the call. Oh, yeah, I don't think he's a flight risk, but we'll take his passports, $1 million bail, and then that's how it works, right? And I think his parents could get the bail for him. I would still have to say I would rather see him no bail, stuck in jail until all this is over, because the evidence is overwhelming that he committed these crimes. Now, house arrest could also be a factor here. I hope it doesn't come to that, but sometimes for white-collar crimes, they get less, they get more perks for being a different type of criminal, right? But yeah, it's just going to be rough going forward, guys, for him, and I'm okay with that, right? Another Simpsons prediction. I mean, I gotta love it, man. Hey, Chair Samples, what do you call it? It's bad for him, right? Let me see if I can refresh this very fast. We can kind of go through some more of these memes here. Just go to photos. No, there's not even memes right now. It's all just Sam Bankman. Oh, let me get rid of that apostrophe S. There we go. And you got Coffeezilla posting right now. A lot of the same stuff. It's all the same little photo thing. Maybe I should have done this. I'm not good at Twitter, people. I just kind of tweet my mind about stuff. I'm not so people. These people, they're so active, so active. And then this guy is 3 hours ago. Why is Sam Bankman-Fried not in jail? Well, he is now. And this is something I wanted to show you guys earlier, and I'm surprised I didn't have it up here, but I guess it was just because there was so much stuff going on here. So much stuff. New York Post did a story earlier. Sam Bankman-Fried tried to skip testifying in person before Congress because he's quite overbooked behind bars, right? But we had already talked about this at great length, I believe, where we had talked about he's not going to be coming into Congress to talk. He'll do a Zoom meeting or something like that because it was very likely that he was going to have charges brought against him. And I think when they saw that he was going to skip it, they were like, uh-oh, alarm bells went off. Let's go contact the Attorney General and the Prime Minister, of the Bahamas and get this ball rolling because we cannot have him escape. It would look very bad against us. It would show that, conflict of interest type stuff with Gary Gensler, possibly Democrats. It would just not look good for everybody involved, even some of the Republicans that he gave money to as well. It would just be a clusterfuck. I think he's going to be a sacrificial lamb at this point. Because if you guys remember, at the beginning, the media was on his side, and it was very ugly for a time because you saw Twitter sphere, YouTube sphere, TikTok sphere making fun of CNBC, Forbes, Bloomberg, a lot of the smaller mini crypto websites out there for, Wall Street Journal was a big one, for like just saying that he was some bozo or some dumb guy who really didn't know what was happening, and he was attacked, and that's how come FTX fell. When in fact, he was committing fraud. I think the winds have shifted a little bit now. They're not as good as we want them to be, but they have shifted a little bit, right? I think what happened was a lot of the talking heads on the major networks like a CNN, a Fox News, a MSNBC, CNBC, a Fox Business, so to speak, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are kind of giving friendly talking, like, they would be trying to be nice to Sam Bankman-Fried. But then once they brought on some expert, like a few minutes later after Sam was done talking, or, after the head guy gave his thoughts or whatever, you would just see that one guy out of nowhere like, no, this guy committed fraud. He should be going to jail forever. Like, what are you guys talking about? And I think they got worn down and they weren't able to kind of mask over this like they wanted to. And you guys were all there. You guys saw all their interviews with Sam. We watched a lot of them. The media was being very pro Sam for a while. And I think that's going to start to turn around even more now that he's been arrested. And I think that's going to be a good thing. I think, what'll go down is something more of a minor infamous, if that makes sense, like an infamous thing, but only for the crypto community, is when he was, Sam Bankman-Fried was being interviewed by that guy from CNBC at the New York Times, which is very favorable to Sam, that conference thing that they had. And at the end of the talk, everybody was applauding Sam Bankman-Fried. And they were applauding a guy that committed fraud. and lost billions of dollars from hardworking individuals across the globe. Now, America, I think we lost a lot of money, but there is people that lost money all over the world. So there's a bunch of different countries that are really ticked off with this guy, okay? And so I think that's why it was so hard for him to actually find a place to go. He couldn't go to Europe. Europe was going to get rid of him too. He couldn't go over to Dubai. Dubai, they would do worse than us, I'll tell you that. And America, we're just like, nah, we're going to come after you. So he didn't really have many places to go. And I think in a lot of other countries out there, because everybody knows he's so hated, he could have been kidnapped or something worse, depending on what countries he went to. Although, he doesn't seem like the guy that knows a lot of people outside the United States, if that makes sense. He has like networking and stuff like that, but I don't think he has a guy like Do Kwon that can get him moving around, get nice place after nice place after nice place. He doesn't have those friends because he's kind of psychotic at the same time. You guys have heard him talk and just like shaking while he's giving those interviews and stuff like that. The guy definitely has some problems, but not enough to make me feel sympathy for him. Damn, I gave myself a many concussions by shaking that hard, like Russell Wilson the other day. Oh my gosh. Let's see. And hey, Tommy, Free Sam. I bet there will be a Free Sam movement here pretty soon. And French, we call them Frank Macron. Green eggs and ham. Big brother is watching us. Always, always, always watching us, man. Man. And hey, Selmo, what are the charges? We don't know the charges just yet. I'll go over here to the article that was written by CNBC. There we go. I got a lot of tabs open right now. And this thing is getting longer and longer the more we talk about this. This could be it right here, or this could be something from earlier today. We'll look at that in a second. They changed up the video. I told you they're just adding fluff here. But hold on. It's a sealed indictment. We won't know. It's sealed. We can ask for it to be unsealed, but a news organization will have to do that. They'll have to convince a judge in court why it needs to be unsealed, and then everybody will have access to it. But let's see. FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested by Bahamian authorities Monday evening after the United States Attorney for Southern District of New York shared a sealed indictment. So I believe this indictment is for the United States, but it was sent over there, and we just don't know what it is just yet. But the fact that it's sealed means we won't know for the next few days, or until a judge, a judge says, "Hey, the media has access to this. They need access to this to give people an understanding of whatever they normally do." But yeah, we don't know yet. We don't know yet. I would have to believe it's a whole myriad of things. It's not just going to be 1, 2, 3, or 4 things. It's going to be like 20 different laws were broken here through mismanagement, fraud. Could even be bribing politicians for all we know at this point. So they're going to be moving fast, and there could be other jurisdictions looking to do lawsuits against him as well. So this is the Southern District of New York. They can go after him federal, but maybe the Attorney General or the attorney in Washington State has a few things that he broke certain Washington State laws, or California, he broke certain laws in California. It'll keep adding up, and there could be state charges, federal charges, and that's the type of stuff where I'm talking about. It can be multi-leveled. He could be facing like 5 different trials over the next 5 different years before he even goes to jail. He just stays in jail, maybe on house arrest. He goes through his first trial, gets found guilty, then he's in jail, and then once he's in jail, he has to go to another court hearing, and he just goes from court to jail, court to jail, court to jail, and more time is added on until it comes to the point where he just cannot, there's no more freedom. He'll be in jail forever. He'll probably go crazy. Jail's not a fun place. Even if you go to the white-collar jails, he's not going to have a fun time there. He's probably going to be medicated out the wazoo, because he's kind of a little bleh. But yeah, so it's gonna be a problem. But yeah, we have no idea exactly what he's been charged with so far. I believe we should know over the next 24 to 48 hours if we can. To me, it really depends on when they get him in custody in America. Then I think that process can really get started. There may already be a jet flying to the Bahamas right now. Like, I don't know if I can do this. I've never actually tried to find this out online, but trackers, I don't know, flight trackers. Let's see. Flight tracker, accept all cookies. There's the Bahamas. Maybe one of these planes is coming over right now, and it's and it's what do you call it? And it's heading for the Bahamas to get Sam Bankman-Fried. We don't know. You can see everybody is heading to freaking Miami over here, and I would believe that that's where he would be taking off the plane. I don't think they would necessarily fly him over here to New York, but they might because it's the Southern District of New York, right? So he could just have a flight taking him from the Bahamas all the way up here. But usually when you look at stuff like that, I would assume it'd be like Bahamas to Miami to New York, unless they brought a private jet out for him to take him to jail. Could happen, but I might just see him being in, economy class cuffed to the seat with a couple air marshals on either side of him. Like, that's what I would say probably was going to happen, but I don't know just yet. I really don't know. We'll learn more about it. We'll talk about Bitcoin a little bit more here in a while, but just so you guys can see, we broke down, we kind of figured that sideways action that we were talking about, going into CPI, going into Jerome Powell talk. We didn't fall as much as I wanted to, and it was like barely, we came down to like 16,900, 16,850 or so. I wanted this to go down to 16,500, but we kind of stopped around this old level of resistance just a few days ago. Resistance, this support was resistance, then turned back into support over here. So Bitcoin's still grinding. There's not really much to talk about here, but I do want to see if I can find more news about Sam. I know normally we talk about charts and stuff like that, but we'll talk about that for hours tomorrow, hours and hours, with all the CPI news coming out. No, nothing else. I want to see a picture of him in jail. I just don't know how to do that. Or I guess there's probably no pictures of him just yet. I bet TMZ is scrambling to find some correspondent they have down in the Bahamas. Let's see. Breaking Democrats' second largest donor, Sam Bankman-Fried, allegedly arrested by Bahamian authorities. That's probably more politicky here. Breaking, FTX was selling fake Bitcoin to its users. Sam Bankman-Fried has just admitted to the massive fraud of all FTX customers. So he probably said something stupid again on another Twitter Spaces. Like, that's how crazy it is. Let me see if I go over here very fast. CNBC. All right, nothing new as of now. If you guys have any more questions about it, let me know, though. Because I really just, when you're ravenous for information, but it's just not showing up. Because there's a lot of news out today, criminal charges here. Elon Musk is no longer the richest person in the world. I think he fell down to number 2 or 3 or something like that, because Tesla fell down like 6% or something like that. Let's see, side hustle. I don't care about the side hustle things. Those things are never 100% accurate, or they're more of like stories. Let me watch some of this from CNBC here. Hold on. So we can learn about the probes going on here.
Even at a major crypto conference in Ghana, where our Mackenzie Sigalos is reporting. Mackenzie, is that what people are talking about, what's going to happen to Sam? Or are they just busy trying to distance the rest of the industry from him, like they did from stable coins and other toxic topics?
Yeah,
I don't like that black guy. He's a jackass.
And frankly, there's more relief that a Black Swan event has removed what some now consider to be a damaging aspect of the industry. That being said, crypto Twitter has wondered why the ex-CEO of FTX hasn't yet been charged with any sort of crime when he's a U.S. citizen who allegedly defrauded other U.S. citizens. So,
see how the whole world is just like, what the heck is going on with America? Why haven't they filed charges? Our media system doesn't understand that we have access to all that media, and it's all kind of on Twitter and TikTok and other forms of social media. They just don't think we understand this stuff.
I spoke with trial lawyers and former federal prosecutors to try to answer that. And they say SBF faces 3 distinct threats. You've got criminal, civil, and private. Now, criminally, experts say that a fraud charge, bank, wire, or mail is the most likely. Given the size of FTX's losses, that sentence could be life in prison with no chance of supervised release. Now, that scenario apparently unlikely, but it is the theoretical.
It's not unlikely.
Of course,
That's
law
likely.
enforcement has to arrest him first. The Bahamas has an extradition treaty with the U.S., but we'll see if they cooperate with U.S. action, which could take years. In the meantime, SBF is running a PR blitz, appearing at DealBook and on ABC News, claiming that he was unaware of how bad it was, saying that he was not a crook, just bad at business. That is hard for many people to swallow. SBF was intricately involved across all of his businesses. Now, on the civil side, if regulators from the SEC or the CFTC decide to act, they could impose massive fines. And then there are the millions of creditors who could sue Bankman-Fried for damages. So a lot of moving parts here, John.
Mackenzie, if I can, who do you think Sam Bankman-Fried is trying to persuade with this media tour? Because most of the crypto people I know are furious with him. Most of the public doesn't believe that he doesn't think or didn't do anything wrong.
Let's listen to that one more time.
Mackenzie, if I can, who do you think Sam Bankman-Fried is trying to persuade with this media tour? Because most of the crypto people I know are furious with him. Most of the public doesn't believe that he doesn't think or didn't do anything wrong. Who is his real audience here that he might be trying to persuade?
I mean, it almost seems like he's trying to win in the court of public opinion, but as you said, Kelly, he's already lost that battle. So then it goes to, is this some sort of attempt at a legal strategy? And literally every single attorney that I've spoken to, people who've tried these kinds of cases in the past, say it is the worst possible idea. Because yes, he's not speaking under oath, but he is certainly exposing himself. Like, you had those comments from his interview with the Financial Times over the weekend, in which he did admit to greater involvement in decision-making at Alameda Research, which was hypothetically the big goal of this press tour, to distance himself from that decision-making process. So it is very unclear what the strategy is here.
Yeah. So what is the strategy? I just think he's a little loose right now, and he's probably freaking out. And oh, Loki says hello. Let me give him a treat. I think he just wants another treat. He's been very good today. We played outside for like 3 hours. He should be exhausted, but for some reason he has a bunch of energy. Ow, your claws. I trimmed his claws the other day, but he just goes after rocks and starts clawing them down as much as possible. But yeah, so you can kind of understand how CNBC is portraying that. They've done a large reversal from the few weeks ago where they were giving one of their anchors with the New York Times audience was giving him a big round of applause. It's a lot different, right? And I like that, especially the reporter there. It looks like she was in Ghana for some other type of Bitcoin conference. She was speaking pretty frank, and I really appreciate her speaking frankly about that. I like reporters like that just say, hey, people don't trust this guy. People feel like he should be in jail. You don't hear that from a lot of different media agencies these days. Excuse me. Puerto Rico is a good place for crypto. I've heard about that. One of the guys I know in the crypto space, he has the channel Digital Asset News. He lives in Puerto Rico, and he kind of moves between Puerto Rico and Texas. Although he keeps on complaining about power outages out there, where it kind of freaks me out a little bit. I don't want to deal with a power outage while I'm streaming with you guys. That would suck. And hey, Bedford, the more we learn, the more he talks, the more the chance he has to end up like Epstein. I mean, possible. I don't know if he's as much of a danger as Epstein was. I think Epstein was bad. A lot of bad stuff about him. He had a lot of connections and just not good stuff. Like stuff I can't even repeat on YouTube because it's just that nasty and terrible. I don't think Sam Bankman-Fried's of that same ilk. I don't think he was given... How do I say this? I don't think he necessarily was in those really private conversations between a few different senators and House members and government officials and very wealthy individuals. I don't think he had that type of influence where people trusted him that much. I think they wanted his money and they were willing to do things for him for that money. But I just don't imagine Sam Bankman-Fried as... there's a word for it, but... That type of guy that can play the game that intricately. I don't think he was that type of guy. I think people would have done background checks on him. checked him out a little bit more, talk with him a little bit, and they can kind of see how he was a little unstable, and that little bit of unstableness would probably keep them at a certain level without divulging too much information. I believe there's cabals all throughout the country, not like going to conspiracy theories and stuff like that, but almost kind of, where institutional actors, high-ups in the government, stuff like that, they do have these private conversations, not necessarily to do harm to people necessarily, but to steer the country in certain ways which they feel like will be beneficial to both them and the country at the expense of people, right? But they're not trying to hurt people. They're just trying to guide the country, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm giving them too much leeway, but I don't know if they even exist, right? But those type of things, I believe they happen. Just kind of backdoor deals, what's going on. Not like nefarious stuff, but the stuff you see in TV shows where you have person from delegation A, delegation B over here, not the main people, but people in the back, making conversations and passing information along through the back channels. That type of stuff. I believe that stuff happens all the time, and they're just trying to navigate all the shit the world throws at them. But they do end up doing a lot of bad stuff, and I don't think Sam was exposed to that necessarily. I think Sam was more of a, let me buy influence, let me get this stuff, and and I'll become more wealthy, more rich. And that's how he was looking at it, not of playing the game and getting like power. If you guys ever watched a great series, it's called House of Cards. There's two types of power in that show. There's real power, and there's like perceived power that wealth can get you. Now, you can get a little bit of power with wealth, but just having the power with just money as your backup, it's more meaningful. I don't think Sam was with the power players. I think he was with the money players. If that makes sense. That could just be me talking on my ass, but I think you get what I'm trying to express here. It's almost like Cersei Lannister and Game of Thrones, where Littlefinger is like, knowledge is power. And then Cersei is like, no, power is power. Sir, somebody, one of the knights, hold him, kill him. Oh, wait, I changed my mind. Power is power. That's kind of like the two different viewpoints, I think. I think he was hanging out with the Littlefingers and stuff, and not so much the Cerseis who have like the real power, but just don't use those two characters because it's not going to work out too well in the analogy there. There's too many inconsistencies. Let's see. And hey, Shannon, I know Loki's having fun. He's been running around all freaking day. Way too much energy here today for me. But I've been walking outside with my my Under Armour nice slippers right here. And they just got dirt all in the movie right now. I'm going to have to send my little robotic vacuum cleaner to sweep up later on today. Let's see. Gusto, Motzi, Game of Thrones, or next Viking. Oh, geez, yeah. Oh, now Loki's actually just chilling down here, sitting alone. All right. Oh, Coach Leach died? What the heck is going on today? I can't. Oh, so he hasn't passed. Okay, good. All these rip things are coming in right now, but it looks like he's not passed. Okay, whew, that scared me for a second. I don't really watch too much football, college football, but he's an important guy in that sport. All right, let's go back over here very fast. Back up a little bit. Anything else? I just want more news. Half of CT going to be like, so it's basically thanks to me that Sam got arrested. Yeah, I was in a Twitter space that discussed his balance sheet, and someone I followed even went to the Bahamas. So like I said, I'm kind of a hero. There's going to be a lot of people like this. I don't claim to have any part in the arrest of Sam Bankman-Fried. I'm just happy the guy is going away. There's no reason for me to be doing part of that. But you see that girl's face right there? That's definitely the face you're going to be getting if you talk like that. I'm going to a party on the 15th in Seattle. It's a crypto blockchain party for a lot of the local guys. And I'm going to be talking about this quite a bit because I know people still have questions about exactly what happened. But this is absolutely some fantastic news. See new tweets. There we go. Justin, the United States government charges Sam Bankman-Fried with money laundering, wire fraud, and securities fraud. That's only 3 things right there. I guarantee the states have more to add on top of that, and individual countries may have some other stuff to add on. I think the other countries will probably not even bother, because if he's in American jail, America's not just going to be sending him out on a world tour to get more and more time, right? So they may just try him outside the country or some weird stuff. But yeah, so there we go. Let me retweet that very fast. Retweet, and I want to see if CNBC has updated their page yet. Not yet. I love how Twitter is so much faster than a lot of other websites out there. Let's go to Fox Business. All-time low. Fox Business has a little bit of humor when they talk here. Let's see. Excuse me.
Success takes sacrifice.
Whoa, no it doesn't. Oh yeah, it does, but I don't want to see that in an ad. Okay, let me go back to the Watcher. He should tweet the source here. Sam Bankman-Fried stepping off the plane to see Hillary Clinton waiting for him. I'm in danger. Oh my gosh. Let me see if I can tweet to this guy. Source. Because I want to learn where this is coming from so we can kind of read it a little bit more here. But it looks like wire fraud, money laundering, and securities fraud. And, over the past couple of years, the FBI and the Justice Department, you guys have probably noticed this, they've become much better at understanding how the blockchain works and being able to track different currencies and different transactions, I should say, transfers of cryptocurrencies. So I'm wondering pretty soon if they're going to say that, oh yeah, he has like $100 million stored in the bank somewhere or some wallet that we believe is Sam Bankman-Fried's, and I want to see how that works out. Yes, Michael, he had a lot of caffeine. A lot of caffeine. A lot of caffeine there. Sam Bankman-Fried behind bars. Don't drop the soap. Oh, gosh. Everybody's excited. Let me go back over here very fast. It would be hilarious if they actually extradited Sam Bankman-Fried tonight to D.C. and make him testify tomorrow. Weird timing, though. They could have arrested him a long time ago. This, all for show, in my opinion, King. What do you call, I don't think it's all for show. I think it had to do when he said that he wasn't going to come into the country. I think they were just waiting for, I think they were waiting to see if he would come willingly to America to testify. And while he was in America, they would arrest him. Right? Instead of having the Bohemians arrest him, and that may complicate things. But I think once he said that he wasn't going to come to testify in person, the Justice Department did Plan B basically, and was like, "Hey, Bohemian government, we need a favor. We have a treaty with you guys. Here's a sealed indictment. We're going to be charging him. Please don't let him flee the country. Please get him in custody as soon as possible if you can, because we're afraid of a flight risk. And flight risk just basically means he may be flying to another country or trying to get away from the laws." If we don't stop the game, no more trading and credit social system in the face. Credit social system. I mean, yeah, we all play into it. One of the weird things that's going to happen when I move to Nicaragua, I'm not going to be in America all too much. Maybe just about a month, 30 days out of the year, kind of visiting the family for 1 week trips, I would say. Maybe a little bit more if I have to go to a conference in Vegas or Miami for decentralized Miami or something like that. But I could really, I don't have, my credit score doesn't matter to me once I go to Nicaragua. It doesn't matter to me, which is awesome. They have a whole different credit system down there. But I want that source. I want that source. That's all I want is the source. Here we go. New York Times. Okay, let's see this. FTX Sam Bankman-Fried is arrested in the Bahamas. A statement by the government. Okay, I don't care about that. We already talked about that. Mm. Wait, what? They don't even talk about it. They just changed the title without adding any substance of what they were talking about. We expect to move to unseal the indictment in the morning, and that will have more to say and we'll have more to say at the time. Oh, here we go. Oh, it just says literally the charges included wire fraud conspiracy. Oh, see, there's more things here. I knew there'd be more. So the indictment would be unsealed Tuesday. The charges included wire fraud conspiracy, securities fraud conspiracy, and money laundering, said a person with knowledge of the matter. So I expect it to be much more. You guys might have heard me a few minutes ago, or half an hour ago now, say there's gonna be like a whole list of crimes committed. It looks like there's quite a few, and the big ones are these. So let's go over here very fast. Wire fraud. Wire fraud jail time, punishable to up to 20. So not 20, but up to 20 years, and a fine of 250,000. I think he would have a pretty large fine. And just imagine the thousands of letters when he is sentenced that come from regular investors like you, me, everybody online around the world that say, hey, I just put my life savings into FTX. I didn't do this. Most of you guys didn't do this. But, you put a lot of money into FTX and you believed it was trustworthy and they defrauded you. And now you have to pick up the pieces of your life type of talk. The judge is going to resonate with that, especially during sentencing. And that's why I believe he can go to jail for life. I know CNBC said it wasn't likely, but they were kind of saying that, hey, maybe it's not even likely that the Bahamians are just going to send them over because it could take years. I don't think if the Justice Department gets involved like this right now, it means they're moving fast. It means something triggered, mostly with the hearing, I believe, like I just explained. But, wire fraud jail time, 20 years here. The other one they were looking at, wire fraud conspiracy. This one's probably something like 5 years or something like that, but who knows? Oh, this is still wire fraud. Wire fraud. Loss amount is one of the many factors that influences sentencing guidelines. How much money do you think he lost, people? Billions. Just do one more here just to kind of see. Instead of just 2-0, now it's 20 years. But yeah, so you can see how this adds up quite a bit, okay? So he could have multiple different types of fraud too. And it's not like it's like one count of fraud, it could be 4 counts of fraud for this, 5 counts of fraud, and each subsequent level of fraud can be added up here, okay? Let's see. Sprigg says, will be interesting to what exactly is alleged to be securities in the FTX case. FTX equity seems to like a slam dunk securities fraud, or wouldn't be surprised if they go for FTT or tokenized equity either. Other crypto is less likely, but who knows? Maybe Gary finally makes his move. Gary's in a little bit of hot water as well because of some of those, how he altered his calendar to kind of hide certain things that were said at meetings. You shouldn't be doing that. You should not be doing that at all. All right. And hey, Don Samu, CPI data comes out tomorrow morning over here in the States. It should come out like really, really early. Let me see if I can find out here. $8:30 a.m. Pacific time, or Eastern time, excuse me. So that's about 5:30 a.m. Pacific time. I'll be live early in the morning to talk about that quite a bit with you guys. And then after that, we'll be going straight into the hearing where we learn exactly what happened here as far as FTX and the whole debacle, right? Excuse me. All right, there we go. Now, to kind of talk about Bitcoin a little bit here and a lot of other assets, we still have this golden cross on the 4-hour chart. We haven't had a death cross here as far as the 20 moving average and the 50. We're still looking okay as far as the way the trends are going. You're even seeing the 200 start to slow down and start to reverse just a tad, okay? So we are still primed here if you guys... you want to take a bath? Yeah, that's what I thought. But basically, we're still primed to go up or crash, basically, in terms of tomorrow's CPI data. I think expectations are around 7.3%. Let me just double check that. CPI expectations. Does it have it month by month? No. There's a page for this. I just don't know where it's at. There we go. There we go. Yeah. So, oh, my head's blocking part of it. Hold on, guys. So, tomorrow it comes out 8:30 in the morning. Forecast is for 7.3. Previous we had 7.7. It was better than the forecast expected last time of 8, and that led stocks tearing up, crypto booming up. Okay, that was very, very good. If we're at 7.3, I think if we hit 7.3, 7.4, 7.2, 7.1, I think we have a green day. Okay, I think we have a green day, even if we overshoot it just by a teeny bit. But if we're up here of 7.5, 7.6, 7.7, even as far as like 8, that's where the market tanks. Okay, like we're down like 2 to 3% by the end of the day. I would have to assume we're probably going to be a little bit higher than this. Don't quote me on that. I'm no expert in CPI data estimates, okay? But I think we're going to be a little bit hotter because I just haven't seen the lowering of inflation like I thought we would by now. But maybe, right? And so, but if we see 7.1, 6.9 or something like that, we're flying past that 17,622 level, everybody. We are going to be moving hard and fast, and it'll be a fun day trading for everybody involved. If you guys want to, make your bets for crypto, you still have time to do longs and shorts. We already talked about this Sunday for the members out there, but you guys would have been able to make your trade today if you guys were going to be buying calls and puts. It's a YOLO at this point, guys. You guys are making big bets. Maybe some of you guys are hedging. I think Wall Street in general is expecting maybe a hotter than expected inflation rate because I've seen a lot of option flow data on the downside here, but it's still a gamble because nobody really knows what the inflation data is going to be tomorrow. Overall, the markets today weren't too bad. I mean, here, there we go. The market teared up about 1.5%, 1%, here. So the market went fine. Tesla went down a little bit here. You can see Tesla had a bad day compared to everybody else. It's still in that nice, nasty downtrend. We had talked about this once it broke down below the 200 level, how it was most likely going to go like to 145 or something. It's still going down that low. I don't know if there was any news out about Tesla today, though. I don't know. Let's pause that very fast. Dow Jones, Home Depot, Tesla. There you go. No news on why. Let me go over here. Tesla is becoming a partisan brand. Motley Fool, perhaps. Let's see. Oh, so it might have just been after this poll. So maybe they feel like people aren't going to be buying Teslas as a show of a support for Democratic policies or just anti-Elon Musk sentiment, something like that, right? I can definitely see something like that happening. We're a very partisan country right now. So maybe that's why the Tesla dropped a little bit. Oops, I pushed the space bar, and now the dollar index is up right here. As far as the dollar index, guys, we're finding a short-term bottom. I hope we don't bounce up from here off of the 50-week moving average. That'd be pretty rough. We want to see this continue to drop down, and we want to see the break of this downtrend here. That'll get people really excited about maybe assets getting more risk on. But if we bounce here and we start going back up, even to 108 or something like that, the market's definitely not going to like that. We're kind of in this weird spot, but of course, everything's waiting on tomorrow. CPI data, Jerome Powell on Wednesday, etc. here. Let's go back over here. And you can see even though we broke down below, we bounced back up, and now we're trying to treat this as support all over again. The fact that we broke down means the support level is weaker than before. But again, it's all about CPI data coming out tomorrow. It's all about CPI data. Maybe a little bit about the hearing, but mostly CPI, right? Let's see. Kenji, the data. Elon fascinating tweets. Fauci tweets. Yeah, he went full on like, let's cause a huge argument to break out across Twitter and stuff like that. I think there's a better way to articulate the thoughts, but I know he's looking to get people interested in Twitter and start to come, even more people on Twitter. I think that's what he's doing. The easy way to do that, with probably not as much benefit, but still doing that, would have been to say, what do y'all think about Fauci or something like that? And like talk about, the public square type of thing. Let's have a debate about Fauci. I don't know. But he really got everybody upset or excited, one or the other. Me on the sidelines. I was like, yeah, cool. Well, let's see what the conversation is. And people were throwing bombs left and right. It was wild to watch. But yeah, I mean, everybody's talking about Twitter these days. I'm sure that Twitter is growing right now at a rapid pace. I think he needs to do more to get the advertisers back online. But I think he relaunched Twitter Blue today, or maybe that's tomorrow. Let me see. Twitter Blue? Because I pay for it. I better get something out of it. Yeah, Elon Musk relaunches Twitter Blue, the subscription that includes check marks. So that happened today, I believe, probably where I got an update like at 4 o'clock in the morning. I didn't go to bed till 5 o'clock in the morning this morning, but I was just doing stuff late. But so maybe some good stuff will happen here. More Twitter Blue. I want there to be more. Like, what do preferences do? I don't do any of this stuff. Early access to new features. 1080, cool. Edit tweet, cool. Upload longer videos, that's cool. I want to do this. Upload videos that are 10 minutes long. Undo tweet, bookmark folders, reader. They need to have more perks in here. They really do. I think what's good is I think it actually gives you more exposure. I think that's why I really got it. So if I go over here to profile or more analytics, I think my analytics have been going up. Oh no, less. More impressions, more tweets, more mentions, more followers, but less people visiting my profile page. Maybe they're just following me from the link or something like that. I don't know. I gotta figure out how Twitter still works though. But yeah, so I'm watching Twitter Blue pretty closely. I'm not gonna pay for any ads, but it's nice to kind of see what people are interacting with me and how I'm interacting with people, and kind of just learning more, right? Like before I started getting more serious, August I had 4 tweets. Okay. Now I'm trying to do like at least a tweet a day, and you can see Bitcoin's actually breaking down below that trend line again. And I reiterated that to you a few seconds ago. It is a little bit weaker than it was just a few hours ago because it did break down, and that makes it a little bit weaker here. 4-hour chart. I think we're going more into the sideways zone, or perhaps support down here, resistance kind of up here-ish areas. So we're kind of trading within this range of 16,750 to 17,330 or so, 340. And that's only about $700 trading range there. So we might consolidate for the next few hours going until tomorrow morning, and then we'll either have a big downward move or a big spike. It's anybody's guess. The charts would suggest we want to go up. CPI data, if it aligns with that, and we have like a 6.9, a 7.1, maybe even 7.2 here, even 7.3, we should retest the 17,622 level. That's going to be a very, very hard nut to crack. But if we have good CPI data, even with Jerome Powell coming out tomorrow, Wednesday, I don't think the bears are going to want to try to fight that battle. I think they'll just let it go up a little bit more here, right? And so that'll be key for what we see going into the rest of December here. We only have like half the month left, and a lot of this, through most of December, not most of December, through part of December, we are going to see some. Trading days where like the trading is turned off for the stock market, basically. No trading days, holidays, and it's just going to be crypto doing its thing. Those are going to be some fun, volatile days, and I hope people can get some money out of that. And hey, Byford, releasing actual tweets, emails never hurt transparency finally. Yeah, I do like the Twitter files. I like it a lot because, like, I remember Joe Rogan's podcast like years ago where they had the guys from Twitter on there, Jack and I can't pronounce her last name, but the legal lady. And, it turns out they lied a lot. They lied a lot. And I don't think people care too much about how bad social media players act as long as they feel like they're kind of being told the truth. I think people understood they were being shadow banned for a while. And, it always makes me wonder, like, well, is Facebook shadow banning? Is YouTube shadow banning, so to speak? I think to certain degrees they are, but they're not Twitter. They're not that town square type of place where everybody goes to communicate and talk and have a good time. The fact that they had all these tools built up, I didn't even know that. So I am grateful for the Twitter files, very, 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 very much so, excuse me. As far as Bitcoin's concerned, we do have a bearish divergence here. There we go. Geez, I don't know why that was taking so long. I would say I'm going to keep a close eye on this small trend line right there. So point A, point B, you can just even make that a little bit like that. There you go. See what happens here, because you could always move it, I guess, a little bit like that. And it never technically broke down, but I want to just move it, adapt right there. Hopefully we can break out sometime tomorrow morning, right? Tomorrow morning is right here. This is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Hopefully we can just break out somewhere that over there. Otherwise, we're coming back down a little bit, crashing down, and then we'll have to retest these support levels around 16,753. And then if that breaks down, then we're going back down to that 16,500 level we talked about down here, and then possibly back down to new lows. That would probably take a few days at least, though. I'm very happy Sam Bankman-Fried is in some kind of custody. Hopefully now people will finally come back to the market slowly but surely now that something's actually happened. Perhaps. It's the economic trends are not in our favor right now. I still think the market will come down eventually, but in the short term, maybe there'll be a little bit more optimism. But the fact still is a lot of people don't even have the money to invest at this part in time because inflation's eating away at a lot of their salaries or their earnings for their job. Besides inflation, some of them might have lost money in Celsius, FTX, Voyager, BlockFi, and so they don't even have enough money to invest in the first place. And there's only a small amount of people in the world that really are buying crypto right now. That's what makes it so awesome is you can buy some, and then over time, more and more people are going to be adding it to their accounts, their portfolios, their 401ks, and the price will be drastically different by that time. All right. But for now, we're still in that wild, wild west. We're still like, 10, 12 years in the beginning of Bitcoin? It's going to take some time. But, give it like a year, 2 years, once this economic stuff is over. 2023 should be kind of rough. 2024 should be very, very nice. And 2025 should be just like epic. But that's like years of me talking. It's like years, right? But the reason I'm still buying assets right now is because I'm still happy. Like I'm buying Amazon right now. I'm buying Tesla right now. I'm buying Microsoft right now. I'm buying a bunch of stuff right now. Now small positions, of course, just kind of adding to my long-term positions, but I'm happy to do so because I know the market's going to come roaring back eventually. It's just that right now, the economy kind of sucks, and I don't see the economy getting better anytime soon. I'm still expecting maybe a little bit of a Christmas rally, maybe, but that again, like I said before, it has to come with CPI data and Jerome Powell, and then Q1, towards the end of Q1, we start going downhill. Q2, really bad time. Q3, maybe find a little bit of a bottom, or we're just kind of going back up at that point. Q4 is looking fine, like we're getting out of this. Q1 of 2024, oh boy, we're like Bitcoin's back up to $50,000, $60,000, and then we're roaring after that. 2024 should be really, really wild because I think if we kind of take a more macro level view of Bitcoin here. Let's go to the monthly chart. Let's get out of that. Let's go to auto. You can see how these waves have really developed. Back over here in 2014, when people really didn't know about crypto as much, and this is like when CNBC started talking about it. It took a while to get up here, but once we had those bottom in 2019, we roared back up, right? we cooled off a little bit, sure, but we roared after finding those bottoms. COVID hit. Without COVID, we would have just done a dip and a rip. And you see how big that rip was? I think we can get something similar. Next time, we might not get this second kind of weird bounce off of here because of tons of free money from the governments around the world. But, once all this stuff plays out, I think we'll be fine. This monthly chart, though, just looks like it wants to continue breaking down. Because if you just go over here, we just broke down. Typically, we continue to keep falling when you see stuff like that. I'm hoping that if we have good economic news, it'll look ugly, but it'll work out and we'll go more sideways gradually instead of just dumping again. Because if you kind of zoom out, like, really, without looking at boxes and, Gann boxes, Gann squares, our next support level is down here at 14,000. After that, the next big support level is at 10,500. After that, we start going down to 6,700. It gets pretty ugly pretty fast. And we still have a few months until we kind of sort all this stuff out as far as the economy is concerned. Excuse me, burping up a storm here. Follow Bunny. Who's Bunny? Let's see. Any more news? I don't think there's been any more news here. Let's go to his page. Nope, it's not. Nothing from 26 minutes ago. Let's go back and let's go to the main page here. No, nothing of anything new here. Dave Portnoy was just realizing it like an hour ago. Wait, does Sam Bankman-Fried's arrest mean he just suddenly doesn't have to testify tomorrow? Because if that's true, that's shady as F. That's going to be the problem here, right? Or that's going to be the tension that builds up right now. I don't think it's necessarily for like those types of purposes, but I could see if it was. I could honestly see if it was. I think they were just afraid he was finally going to jump ship and run away as soon as he said, "I'm not going to be testifying in person." I think that's where like, okay, let's get this guy. Let's get this guy. Let's see. You could already see the deep state going on, right? Deep state type of talk. Yeah. Let's get there. Let's get there. Let's get here. There we go. Now I don't have as much clutter here. Now let's open up CNBC very fast. I just want to see if there's any more breaking news here. Yeah, now they've updated it here. The New York Times reported the charges include wire fraud conspiracy, money laundering, jail time. 20 years. Again, it's all 20 years. This guy could be going away for 60 years, and that's only with like one count of each. Imagine what happened with the Alameda stuff. On top of that, with the FTX US versus the FTX international stuff. It can get really bad really fast. Really fast. Oh, I deleted the other trend line, didn't I? Yeah, okay. There we go. Okay. Anyway, Monica, any chance of recovery? Yeah, there's a chance of recovery, but it wouldn't be your total amount. It would have to be dealt with during the bankruptcy proceedings that are going to be happening over the next few months, if not years. And that's why they got the new CEO to kind of guide through this process, because at this point in time, they don't know the whole story yet. This guy just came on board. The data's all a mess because nothing was organized as good as it should be, right? And that's the issue here. He's going through all the data. He's trying to find out everything he can. And then he's going to have to try to get some funds back from, I think, the Bahamian authorities have some crypto from FTX. And there's like a whole bunch of satellite FTX. There's FTX Japan, FTX, Europe, perhaps. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. But there's a chance you can get some money back, yeah. But it's not going to be nearly as much as you put in there. And hey, Ewit, that COVID rip is why I think we will have a bigger move to the upside and are regardless of the economy, mostly because people are starting to find more ways to make money from just a 9-to-5 job. We need good news. We definitely need good news right now. The market's acting irrational. Even the stock market's acting irrational. I mean, if it's acting irrational, that's making me just want to put more money into it right now and just kind of see what happens. But ultimately, just be fine if it. I'll be fine if the market hits new lows because I think it will next year. But I'm not complaining about the positions I bought a few weeks ago or so. Like I told you guys a few weeks ago, I bought Amazon at $95. Amazon right now is I don't know how much Amazon is. Amazon is at $90.55, right? So it is what it is. But I'm holding it for the long term because I'm hoping that, go to the monthly chart. I'm hoping I'm buying something at a low. Like, it's pretty close to the lows here. We might get to $66 or so if it gets really, really bad. But I'm sure that will probably be a decent bottom. And then, it'll rally back over time and we'll start this process all over again. And I'll be fine with that. But, this has had a pretty sizable loss. 189 to $90. That's over a 50% drop. Right? And remember, we talked about this like last year, how they were selling off large amounts of their positions. And that was a sign that they know something bad is going to be happening because they were selling just a little bit more than normal. Normally you sell a little bit because that's your compensation from the company. But, senior vice president, CFO, $1.5 million worth of Amazon sold. And that was this year. Go back last year when the price was when the price wasn't at $94 and the price was at like $3,000. Again, they had a split, so keep that in mind, of course. But, selling 1,000 shares for $3.9 million, pretty wild. But that was before the split, of course. So here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of people out there, Monica, that thought FTX was safe. I thought FTX was safe, too. I'm sorry, Loki's over here. I think what's going to happen now is more of the legal proceeding stuff, which can be very dry and boring. I'm hoping the trial can be televised. If it is, I'll be on every day covering the trial, and then afterwards going over a little bit of Bitcoin technicals and stuff like that, which I normally do during the streams. I really do hope that they'll make the trial public, but we have to wait for Sam Bankman-Fried to get to America first. And you guys will probably hear from me or somebody on TikTok or Twitter about what's going on here. But man, it's some big breaking news, and it's going to have big implications over the next few weeks. I'm just hoping that they'll find a way to get him to testify. I hope they'll find a way for him to get to testify out there. I really think that's the traditional ways of viewing the market is starting to fade, and things like Twitter and videos and streams like this are starting to drive markets for the younger generations. That's true. And hey, Kenny G, you think Crow is safe? I think a lot of people think that as well. I think the CEO has some questions to answer, but I don't think they're in any danger at this point in time, right? Maybe if Bitcoin goes to 10,000, 6,000, maybe that's where people start getting more afraid of like some of those larger exchanges. But for now, I don't see many people worried about it. People tried to spread some FUD about Binance last week, and Binance was just fine. Or just last weekend, I think, actually. But going back to your... I think a little bit here. I do think a little bit. I'm working with a company right now behind the scenes called TradeZing. Now, they're going to launch, I think, in January of this year. But I can't show you the back-end stuff as far as my accounts yet because it's still in beta mode, and I'm like invited to do beta or paid to do beta by them to kind of help them out a little bit. But basically, your community is waiting. Stocks, crypto, NFT, metaverse investments, right? But what makes this website kind of cool is as imagine YouTube, kind of, but built into YouTube, there'd be your Robinhood portfolio, your Coinbase portfolio, and if I say I'm taking this trade or I'm going along right here or Bitcoin just broke it, I'm going short, you guys could see exactly what position I did on my Coinbase account or on my Robinhood account, etc., mostly for buying because shorting is a little bit different on crypto, right? And then you guys could buy and just copy my trade exactly. Maybe not the exact price because I buy, then I put the video, so to speak. But you guys could see exactly what trade I did, and you guys could copy that trade if you guys wanted to, which I think is pretty cool. And that way you guys could have your exchanges kind of hooked into the platform, and then you guys could see my live portfolio. And so maybe I'll make a public portfolio for you guys where I just add, 25 to $50 a week into cryptocurrencies, just so you guys can see the long-term growth of a wallet or a portfolio, where it's something that's more realistic. So you're not dumping some people dump like $1,000 a week into crypto. I'm not doing that. But instead of like people thinking of that mindset, no, just add 25, $50 a week, and you'll see how it grows during the bull market. And we could buy during a bear market, which will definitely be next year when they launch, I think in January. So as long as they're kind of doing their thing, they should be on pace to go with January. It might be pushed out to February, but I don't know how it really works out with them. But as they do this, I'll be able to kind of share with you guys more advice and stuff like this. But there's more platforms like this popping up every day. There's another one out there called I forget the website. I really do, because I didn't work for them, but they said, hey Michael, we would love it if you put some of your stuff on our page, and I was like, sure. So they paid me like $100 to do something like that. It's not Skillshare. I don't remember what it was called because I don't use it anymore. It basically every time I upload a video to YouTube, it uploads it onto that site, so I don't actually have to watch it. But I forget. Investing video content. Skillshot Media, my wallet. I don't know what it's actually called. It starts with an S or something like that, but it doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter too much. Just like what happened to Wall Street Bets. Yeah, the thing I don't like about Wall Street Bets and in general, I do like how people can like talk about their favorite positions, but I think people that are new need to avoid those because they end up holding too long, right? Every social influencer out there or talker, whatever you guys want to call me, we all have our different viewpoints of the market. I always go back to this because I was kind of shocked as like a new influencer at the time talking about Dogecoin, because I'm an investor first. And I told you guys for like months, my plan was to sell Dogecoin when it hit 50 cents, and that's when I would start scaling out of it, of course. And then scale out some at 60 cents, 70 cents, 80 cents, 90 cents, and $1 if we really hit it. But I told you guys for a while, I just didn't think it was going to hit $1. I said it could, but that would be really hard and difficult. So I just didn't think so. Usually when they have these lofty targets, we never really reach them. But when I sold my Dogecoin or some of my Dogecoin at 50 cents, like half of it, I got a lot of hate from that type of crowd at Wall Street Bets. But they have changed the game, and something I really do like that they have done is they've exposed a lot of people in mainstream corporate media, like a CNBC, so to speak, and Bloomberg, where they kind of are disingenuous with what they talk about, and they try to make stories up instead of just giving you good data to follow. Right now, CNBC is on a crusade against Elon Musk. Elon Musk is controversial right now. I'm not going to deny that. But, they're going after him in a way where it's just like, just talk about his businesses. There's no reason to try to get personal with the man. It's not going to look good for CNBC. It's not going to look good for Elon Musk, but maybe they're willing to take that hit. It's kind of just the way the world works right now, right? And then you got Jim Cramer has been exposed for being horrible at investing advice. And every time he says something, now the joke is, oh, I'll just short what he's buying, or I'll just buy what he's shorting, basically, right? They've built a platform where they can kind of show misinformation in real time and correct that misinformation in a way that they believe is correct, which I think most of the time they're pretty correct because there's a few experts in that Reddit channel that I agree with quite a bit. I just think it's what kind of got the people who never traded to start looking into not all that it's foolproof. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a great gateway there. There's a lot of new investors right now that weren't investing a while ago. Most are just out of the market right now because they lost too much money. They're afraid that their exchange is going to go bust, or they're afraid that Robinhood's going to have too many issues. Even if Robinhood's perfectly fine, people are just still afraid. They're still afraid from the GameStop fiasco. So most exchanges have had some issues, and they've just been having problems, building up that trust and especially as the market's been going down. I think everybody was making fun of Robinhood the other day because I think they said 401ks have like 1% interest on them or something like that, and everybody was like, like that's not enough for me to like put my 401k in your account, right? I go through Vanguard because Vanguard is old and trusted, and they've been through bull markets, bear markets. I trust them, and I get no commissions on my ETFs on Vanguard ETFs, which I buy a lot of. So the market will get better. I'm hoping that the majority of the FUD is behind us here. The only thing that could really make the crypto market so much worse, besides the economy, is if a larger exchange like Binance goes under. At this point, I don't see it. I don't see KuCoin going under either, but they could, depending on how bad this market gets. And when that happens, who knows how far down we go. Let's just hope it's not going to be, damaging to too much of us out there in the market environment. See. And hey, Monica, interesting fact, not sure if you heard of it. In the Celsius bankruptcy procedure, judge ordered that all crypto that was staked at Celsius must be returned to customers. From now, I only buy those. Well, see, I believe that kind of goes into the fact that they didn't have the one-to-one backing like you need to have, which, they're paying for it now. But you can kind of see how they had these little mini orbs or such of customer money. FTX didn't have that. That's what we're talking about, that slushing of currencies and stuff. That's what makes Celsius a little bit better than FTX right now. And at ET, I'm probably more bearish, but I'm just a pessimistic guy as far as CPI. I was bearish last month, and it was very, very good economic data that really boosted the market up. So take my opinion with a grain of salt. It's more of if we meet expectations or do better than expectations, we're going to be ripping. If we if we're worse than expectations, we're going to be doing very poorly. It's a gamble either way if you guys are trading right now. The government agencies are going after Elon because he opened up the truth serum, and none of the three-letter agencies like that. Period. Yeah, I mean that's a good point. He's exposing the trail, I guess you would say, all the data of all the stuff. I mean, I'm just surprised about how much Twitter lied. Now Joe Rogan can go around and say they lied to me on my show, and tons of people saw that and they believed him. It just spreads like wildfire right now. And I've been watching the Twitter files. I don't read them live anymore because they're just so long. I just wait for the Twitter files to come out, and then I read everything at once, and it makes it a lot easier. I wish they would just make a video exposing it with and hire some type of editor out there, but I'm sure there's somebody on YouTube doing that right now as well. Can never be let down if you don't have expectations. I have to have expectations. I gotta guide you guys as best as I can. Yeah, but that's why I'm saying it's a gamble right now. I can plainly just say it's a gamble. But okay, everybody, I'm gonna call it a night here for the stream. It's been a nice 2.5, 3 hours with you guys. I don't know how long I've been streaming. Since 3:49. Oh no, just about 2 hours now. I'm gonna go make some dinner and try to learn more about this FTX saga. If I find more news coming out, I will alert you guys to it down the road, either later tonight or tomorrow. But tomorrow I'll be live starting at about 5 o'clock in the morning. We will be live going until about 7 o'clock in the morning for me. We'll be talking about the markets. Then after that, for the next few hours, we'll be going over the hearings for FTX. Okay? So I will not be holding an afternoon stream tomorrow because I will be way too tired. My sleep schedule is totally off this week, and I told you guys I fell asleep at 5 o'clock last night. I'm going to try to get some sleep tonight so I can actually not just be doing a 24-hour shift or something like that, okay? Well, that'd be 48 hours because I've been up since maybe 10 o'clock this morning. It's 10 o'clock, 12, another 10, that'd be 24, or not, 20, 30. Oh, yeah. No, I'd probably have to take an afternoon nap or something like that. But yeah, so I'll see you guys a little bit later. I'm happy that Sam Bankman-Fried has been arrested, and I'll try to get you guys as much information as I can. But make sure to go follow Coffeezilla out there. He's been a great help for the community.